I was only 16 when my life changed forever. It was a cold night, the wind howling outside, but inside, the house was quiet. Too quiet. My parents sat across from me at the dinner table, their faces unreadable. My mother cleared her throat, her hands shaking as she pushed a small piece of paper toward me. "Pack your things," my father said, his voice cold. "You're leaving tomorrow." I frowned, confusion hitting me like a wave. Leaving? Where am I going? My mother refused to meet my eyes. My father took a deep breath. "You're going to live with Mr. Carter now. He's taking care of you." Mr. Carter. The name made my stomach turn. I had seen him once. Tall, rich, much older than my father. He owned half the businesses in town. I had caught him staring at me before, a look that sent chills down my spine. I shook my head. "What do you mean? I'm not going anywhere." My mother finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "We had no choice, Emily. She stopped, pressing her lips together. "You sold me," I breathed, my chest tightening. "You sold me to him." Neither of them answered. The silence was enough. My world shattered. I wanted to scream, to run. But where? My own parents had betrayed me. The next day, a black car pulled up outside. My hands shook as I gripped my small bag, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might stop. The door opened and there he was, Mr. Carter. His suit was perfect, his smile practiced. "Come, Emily," he said, his voice smooth but empty. I turned to my parents, searching for something. Regret, sadness, anything. But my father only nodded, and my mother wiped away a tear, not brave enough to look at me. Tears blurred my vision as I stepped into the car, my body numb. The door shut with a heavy thud, locking me into a life I never chose. The mansion was enormous, but it felt more like a cage. Mr. Carter led me inside, his hand resting on my shoulder. I flinched. "You'll get used to it," he said, his voice calm, as if he had just adopted a stray dog. That night, I sat on the giant bed, staring at the moon through the glass window. I thought of my parents, of my old life, of the girl I used to be. Tears spilled down my face, silent but endless. Days turned into weeks. Mr. Carter controlled everything. What I wore, what I ate, where I went. The staff avoided my eyes, pretending not to see the sadness trapped in me. One evening, I found myself in the grand library, running my fingers over the books. That's when I heard it. A soft knock on the door. A young maid, her eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in a long time, kindness. "I'm Anna," she whispered. "You don't belong here." Her words cracked something inside me. "I know," I whispered back, my voice breaking. Anna became my only friend. She would slip me notes, tell me about the world outside, Remind me that I was still a person, not just someone's possession. Then, one night, she came rushing into my room, her face pale. "Emily, you have to leave. Tonight." Fear gripped me. "He'll find me. He owns everything." "But he doesn't own the sky," she said firmly. "Or your freedom." My heart raced. Could I do it? Could I run? The door creaked open, and I turned, my breath catching in my throat. Mr. Carter stood there, his expression dark. "Going somewhere?" he asked. My pulse pounded as I took a step back. Anna grabbed my hand. "What would you do if the people who were supposed to love you the most became the reason for your pain? Would you run? Would you fight? Or would you wait for someone to save you?"